We are live on YouTube.
Yep, we're live. We are live. What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning in to this very, very special segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And today I have a very special guest. A lot of you all may know him as the Google leaker. Some of you all may have seen his interview on either the Convo Couch or Project Veritas. This is Zach Vorhies. Zach, how are you doing, man? Thank you very much for coming on.
Hey, Niko, it's really good to be on the show. Thank you for having me on.
No problem at all. No problem at all. So let's just get into it. I know, bits and pieces about what you've done. I know that you leaked a lot of stuff. I know that, you put a lot on the line to do it. And I also, to my understanding, know that this isn't the first time that you've done this type of leak. Last time you did, I think you were anonymous. And this time you felt like you need to, put your face and your name behind it so that the leaks can stick and you can go out and do more interviews and things like that. Right? Am I in the ballpark?
Right. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I first came out anonymously with Project Veritas, and we released just 2 pages out of the 950 that we had. But then after Google started harassing me, I decided that to leak the rest of them. So in order to make myself safer.
That's smart. That's actually smart. And it's funny because people like to get quiet and become silent the moment that they feel threatened. And I feel like I'm like, that's the thing you could do. The stupid, because then everything, God forbid something happens to you, then what? They always say, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. Nobody went after them, and they start to ridicule you. But if you make your face known, you make your voice heard, and everybody knows your name and everybody knows what you're connected to, it makes them a lot more hesitant to engage in some type of, behavior that could end up causing you your life. Like I said, we talked earlier, I went through that exact same thing with the DNC fraud lawsuit. So you decided to leak all of it. And can you give us a glimpse into some of the information that was leaked in these documents?
Yeah, so we leaked a bunch of information on blacklists and what things are being blacklisted, which websites are being blacklisted, which search phrases were being blacklisted. I also leaked a bunch of information about how the whole entire ranking and deranking algorithms work. Also for YouTube videos. It's called Twiddler.
Oh, yeah. I need to check that out.
Yeah, Twiddler and SuperRoot. And these systems, Twiddler and SuperRoot and Project Purple Rain, are part of a system called machine learning fairness. And that was also one of the big things that I've leaked out with this whole thing is that machine learning fairness.
Okay, and the machine learning fairness is just an overall overarching algorithm?
It's a collection of systems that are designed to rebias the results on Google up and down, depending on whether they are fair or not.
Okay. So can you give me like a glimpse into how that system operates? Like, was it like malicious in its intent? Was it an attempt to control what was happening? Like, as far as what appears at the top, what doesn't, can they manipulate that? If they're asked to. I mean, for example, I know that not this election, but at least the last election, the head of Google at the time was actually literally working on Hillary Clinton's campaign, or at least working with her, and was consulting with her. So like, can they somehow manipulate that to anybody's political advantage, anybody's, marketing advantage, anything like that?
I mean, not only can they do it, but they are doing that. And they've been doing it for a really long time, at least for the last few years. And what's been changing is the fact that they've been really ramping it all the way up to 11. And they've been putting the censorship out. And it's not just on political terms, it's also now on cultural terms. So to give you a high level look of what this means, let's say, are you in front of a computer right now?
I am.
Okay. Could you go to a Google search and type in the following?
Okay.
Men can space.
Okay.
And
space the bar, space bar, or
space bar. Yes.
Can have babies. Men can have babies. Men can get pregnant. Men can have periods. Men think. That's a really weird. Why?
Yeah.
I don't even understand. Like, who thinks of that? I've never typed that out in my life. And these are like not even questions. These are like assertions. These are declarative statements.
Yeah.
Why?
Right. So you typed in men can, and Google suggested men can have babies, men can have periods, men can have babies now. And if you do the same thing for women can, you're going to see a different set of terms that they've selected to be at the top.
Women can fly. Women can do it. Women can vote. Women can do anything. Women can be drafted. What the That's the whoa. Women can be drafted.
Yep.
I like how they put that at the very bottom. Yeah, you can do anything. Even go die for us. We appreciate it.
In some war for the elite, right?
Exactly.
And so the question is, well, how do we get here? How do we get this? Because Google says that these search predictions are being generated by the aggregate of searches that are being done on the internet. Mm-hmm. But in reality, that's a lie. And the reason why we know it's a lie, because trends.google.com gives us the information about the amount of search popularity for certain phrases. And if you put in something like men can have babies and compare that with men can drive, what you're going to see is that there's way more people searching for men can drive rather than men can have babies. Yet men can have babies pops up. So when Google says that they're just, following the data, that is definitely not true.
It's a literal lie. It is a literal lie, and their own system proves that it's not true.
Yeah.
Did they not think that one through?
Yeah. Well, I think they did. I think actually that they did, right? Because you can do this with other searches. Like, let's say you go to, let's type in Trump body and then space and then put C as if you're going to type in count. So start typing in Trump body count.
Nothing comes up. Actually, it's just nothing. It says Trump body in a C.
Yeah, in a C.
And nothing.
It doesn't come up for you?
Mm-mm.
It doesn't come up with Trump body count? It doesn't start trying to autocomplete?
No.
It was doing that as soon as yesterday. So, up until yesterday, it was auto-completing for Trump body count. And I actually did a Medium post on this. So they might have already cleaned that one up. But
I'll tell you, they're tracking you. So
yeah. So
they got rid of both Trump body count and Clinton body count.
Yeah, they definitely got rid of Clinton body count. They got rid of that before the election.
I know it was like I guess it was reappearing because of the Epstein situation for a while. But I guess that's why. I mean, they got rid of it because that's ridiculous. That literally nothing comes up for either Trump body count or Clinton body count. And Twitter was actually trying to trend Trump body count for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it right now. Trump body. Yeah, it auto completes for me. It auto completes for me. Here, let me just Trump body. Oh, and then I tried it again when I go in there. Yeah. It is not auto-completing that anymore. Okay, well, Google actually cleaned that up. Maybe it was because of what I had said. Anyways, they've been hiding these terms like Clinton body count for a while, despite the fact that there's a bunch of people that have been historically searching for this. There's a lot of people that are searching for, negative search terms on Clinton, and they've deleted all of it, right? And
yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And the reason why they're doing this is actually really long and complicated. And this is the thing that I've disclosed. And so I want to kind of like go back to the beginning of when I started, like my antenna started going up and I was like, what's going on here? So first off, I've been with Google for 8.5 years. I first started off with Google Earth, and then I ended up with YouTube. And this was after 2016 and the election of Donald Trump. The company started going in a really different direction. They pretty much did a 180-degree switch, and they started talking about fake news. What are we going to do about this fake news? Because fake news was the reason why Trump got elected, according to Google, and according to what they said. It was also sexism and racism and misogyny. And so because of the fake news issue that they were pushing, they were they were telling us this in meetings. They're like, oh, well, the fake news, there's all these people generating fake news and people are getting confused by fake news. So we need to push the fake news down. We need to push the authoritative news up. And I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. What exactly is fake news? Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of the time they were pushing fake news, whether or not they meant to or not.
Yes.
Like literal, like the 17 intelligence community, like agency story, and it turned out that that was a lie, and yet Google was still pushing it as if it was true.
That's right. Right. And so I was kind of sitting here thinking, well, maybe when the narratives catch up and the facts that matter catch up, then Google will change its attitude. But that never really happened. They seemed to just double down, and no amount of evidence was going to really change their mind. And so I started to get curious because I'm like, well, what exactly does Google think is fake news? So I looked and I found something called a slide deck, which is like a PowerPoint presentation. I found a slide deck that talked about fake news. And one of the examples that they gave on fake news was something that actually happened. Okay, so this is the example. Hillary Clinton was running weapons through Benghazi in order to fund ISIS terrorists in Syria. Okay?
That actually happened, yeah. Seymour Hersh broke that news. Seymour Hersh broke that.
Exactly. Google used that as an example of fake news. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. So anything that comes around that is also going to be suppressed now. And it wasn't that they were trying to suppress fake news. I actually started to realize that they were trying to suppress real news that was damaging to the establishment narrative. Okay. So, yeah, so I was like, well, okay, I need to start doing more searches for what's going on. So I started, grabbing more documents and looking at it. And then I was like, oh, what's this system? Oh, machine learning fairness. Oh, Twiddler. Oh, Project Purple Rain. And I started like amassing this gigantic trove of documents. But I didn't really intend when I was grabbing them to go to the public. I didn't actually make that decision until after I discovered that Google was deleting words out of their translation dictionary in order to make a Trump tweet sound crazy.
Whoa.
Yep. So
what tweet was that?
So the tweet was, despite the constant negative press,
the convive. Yeah. You know what's crazy about that? Do you know the history of that actual word?
Yeah, I do. I've become an expert. It's like got some antediluvian ancient meaning to it.
Well, and then convive specifically is a CIA operation. Like specifically in South America and Central America. Like it's an actual thing. That's why it's basically the almost like a manifest destiny of South America. And around the time when we first put the Venezuelan diplomats on the Muslim ban list, when Venezuela left the petrodollar, is when he tweeted that out, and a lot of people were pushing back because of No. It
happened right after he went to Saudi Arabia. He came back from Saudi Arabia on like May 2017, and I think he tweeted this out on May 31st.
That was all happening around the same time. Because Saudi Arabia is connected to what? The petrodollar.
Right.
Venezuela left the petrodollar and was going to get into blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. And so all of this was happening at the same time. I was like really paying close attention to it because I remember I was like, what the hell is this? And then when I looked up and, they try to make it seem like it was something that made him crazy. But I think that word, you're correct. The word convive was removed. And it came out like that instead to make him seem crazy, but it was actually, unfortunately, something that
was then later used as justification for trying to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove a sitting president due to mental incapacitation.
Really? I missed that. Who did somebody in the Senate try to do that?
It was the mainstream media was pushing for the fact that he was like mentally unstable. We need to remove him like via the 25th Amendment. Yeah. So I'm sitting here going,
couldn't be autocorrect.
What?
It couldn't be autocorrect.
Yeah. so here's what happened. Here's how they did the little removing trick. Okay. So Trump tweets it. People find out that this word like actually translates into something. And so they start talking about it online. And then the New York Times decides that they're going to act like Snopes, and they're going to go in, they write this article where they're like, well, actually, it doesn't actually mean anything. It's actually completely nonsense, right?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they write this article, and then Google uses this article to write a design document to remove the word kafefe out of its Arabic translation dictionary because it says we will stand up. It actually makes like sense if you read the whole tweet. Despite the negative constant press, we will stand up. Okay, so they decide that they're gonna delete it, and I've released this with the Project Veritas docs. One of the interesting notes is that there's this implementation log where they're getting rid of the word, and the team that is deleting this word is called the Derrida team. Okay, now
like the opposite of Veritas.
No, like Jacques Derrida, the French philosopher from the Frankfurt School that advocated for the destruction of Western culture through the destruction of its language. So the people responsible for destroying the translation definition named themselves after this philosopher. How ironic.
That is not very subtle. That is not very subtle at all. Man, that's some scary stuff. So, before we get into more details about the leaks, I'm curious, man, and I probably already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why did you have to go to Project Veritas, right? Because historically, it's been the left that has been, the ones supposedly trying to keep the intelligence community in check, keep big tech in check. Hell, even Google at one point was considered before, the Jeff Bezos takeover, as I like to call it. They used to be, the ones constantly and regularly fighting for free speech.
Only and all that if it's against the government. See, if I had leaked a bunch of, machine learning language docs by the U.S. government, I could have gone to the New York Times and they would have like propped me up as a hero and did all that stuff. But what I was doing was I was outing a corporate surveillance program. And the thing is that the New York Times is not in favor of that. They would have stabbed me in the back. They would have turned me in. Same with the other rags like Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal. Absolutely. I realized that I needed to go to someone that had a history and a record of being able to get at the truth of the story and push it out. That's not to say that Project Veritas doesn't have its own bias. Yeah. Outlet can have its bias and still do service to the truth. Right?
Yeah, 100% agree. I've seen it. I mean, even for example, I'm really not a fan of Alex Jones, but every now and then, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So, if you're going to do a good service like this, it's just sad to me. And I think probably more upsetting than anything that like the left used to be known for standing up to the deep state, standing up to these type of entities. And now it seems like for self-preservation, maybe they are completely ignoring it, or they're maybe for fear of backlash, right? Maybe for fear of backlash from big tech.
Well, I mean, they're curious. They're the new nanny state, right? Like if anyone has like any hesitancy towards vaccines, they're right at the front saying you don't have the right to choose what you're going to do to your child, which is really funny because like I grew up with this whole thing where it's like, my body, my choice, my choice, unless it happens to be against the vaccine pharmaceutical mania. And what I'm starting to notice is that they've got all these like contradicting things where they say one thing, but they don't really mean it when it comes to something that goes against their agenda.
Right? Oh, I'm in politics. I know exactly what you mean. It's for example, I'm a Tulsi supporter and the Democrats always preach unity, not attacking other Democratic candidates. And in fact, if you're a male and you attack a female, then you're supposedly sexist. If you attack or critique a person of color on their record, then you're racist, except for in cases of Bernie Sanders and Tulsi Gabbard. You can attack them all you want to, but don't, that's basically how it's been, at least from what I can see over the last 3 to 4 years. And it's sad. It pisses me off. Oh my God. Like I get attacked more. I get attacked by white people more that are pretending like they care about women or people of color or things like that. Whenever I came out swinging at Kamala, they're like, you just hate black women. I'm like, really? I hate black women? Really? Like, I love Nina Turner. I just got off the phone with her. Y'all know that. Matter of fact, they would attack Nina Turner trying to defend Kamala. So that culture war definitely leaks over into politics.
Yeah, and they're becoming, the left is becoming the new authoritarians, and I think it happened right as they were abandoning liberalism. You know, I consider myself a liberal. I believe in judging people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. But the new neo-segregationists are all on the left, right, with their safe spaces and their separate dorm rooms now for people.
See, I would have to push back on that, man, because Ben Shapiro is about as much of a social justice warrior as I have ever seen on the left. Ben Shapiro, Tomi Lahren literally has a compass where she's always looking for safe spaces. I think that I do agree with you that there is kind of like this over policing of reality. Like, you know, I feel like people should be going through, you know, life experiences that may make you uncomfortable, because that like ultimately shapes your character. And I just feel like overall, because like the people on the left who behave like that, like policing people, they're not really leftists, in my opinion. You're authoritarian, and that would make you on the right. You feel like maybe socially you're on the left, but in actuality, you're trying to police culture and people the same way that religious fanatics do the same.
See, and this is so funny. This is so funny because when I talk to people on the left, they're like, no, the authoritarians don't represent us, right? That's a right-wing thing. And then I talk to the people that are on the right, and they're like, no, we're actually libertarians. We don't want the government to like come in. The authoritarian stuff is on the left. And so what I see is that the people on the left don't like the authoritarianism. The people on the right don't like the authoritarianism. So where is this authoritarianism coming from? Well, it's coming from the ivory towers of places, institutions like the New York Times and Harvard, and they're pushing this Marxist agenda, which is a totalitarian agenda that wants to decide like what language you can use, what pronouns you're forced to use. And if you don't comply with them, then you're labeled a hateful bigot, and you can be disemployed. You can lose your job. You can like lose your, you can get expelled from school. There's all these like repercussions, and it's like they're trying to.
Technically speaking, Marx would be against that. By the way, I don't know where people get that from. Marx would technically be against that. He was most of his career was censorship, because his whole thing was pushing back against the capitalist system and the government that enabled it. So it's I think it's a misnomer. I hear that a lot. Sometimes people are like, oh, that's Marxism. I'm like, I have no idea what Marxism is. But Marx, literally his career was pushing back largely against censorship. That's why he was never able to become like in today's world, he would be revered like Chomsky, right? But back then, because censorship was such a big deal, because they were trying to establish the war economy, like he was not. Like, I don't know where people get the idea from, but I got a question too, though. So I'm a huge Julian Assange fan, massive, like believe this man deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. He's been exonerated by the United Nations. WikiLeaks is, you know, I mean, the reason people always say that he's a quote unquote Russian asset, but he can't even go to Russia because WikiLeaks published stuff about them too. So why couldn't you go to WikiLeaks out of curiosity?
WikiLeaks has been dismantled. I don't know if you know this, but Julian Assange is one of the only people that's still left alive. All the other people that have been involved in WikiLeaks have been systematically killed over the years.
What about the ambassador, the former ambassador to the Ukraine? He still lives in the UK.
I mean, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. I just know that there's a lot of people who have died. And from my research, the overriding consensus is that WikiLeaks has been infiltrated and is no longer under the control of Assange. So I didn't really want to.
You didn't want to risk it.
I don't want to risk it, right?
That's fair. That's fair. I would say so. I mean, even still, like, so I'm pretty close with Assange's mom and a lot of his team, and what I've noticed, the biggest thing that will probably apply to you is that it's very hard to keep your sources silent when you are personally in jail, right? And they seemingly end up either dead or they end up in Chelsea Manning's situation. Whereas like it looks like every single, rights violation in the book is being violated in order for them to get Chelsea Manning to speak out against Julian Assange, which is sad. But you know, I understand completely at that point why you would feel like safer just doing it this way rather than WikiLeaks, especially because they hold information. They do tend to hold information and then release it at the right time. Whereas you're like, nah, I need this out now. That makes sense.
Well, Project Veritas just did hold on to the data for about a year. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you're safe. When did you quit Google then?
I resigned June 28th. I gave my resignation letter June 17th.
And they never caught you like getting that data and giving it to somebody else?
Nope.
That's impressive. I'm not gonna lie. So with this data, I heard whenever it leaked, I heard that you had written an open letter to Tulsi, who had her account blocked by Google whenever she tried to, produce ads after she was the most searched candidate on Google Trends the night after the first debate. Can you explain to me a little bit about, one, what that letter was about, and two, can you educate everybody on the process that might have taken place to block her? And do you think it was on accident or on purpose?
Right. So I ended up talking to Tulsi Gabbard's lawyer. And what I told him is, I think I know how they took down Tulsi Gabbard's ad account because I saw how insiders took down Jordan B. Peterson's account. And the patterns that I was seeing that the lawyer was explaining were very similar to, between the two. So let's just go back to what exactly happened. So Tulsi Gabbard had an ad account, and an ad account buys clicks and puts those results at the top of the Google search. So when someone types in Tulsi Gabbard, what she wants is she wants that top promoted spot so she can capture the audience. And everything was ready to go. She does the Democratic debates, and then right after the debates, her ad account gets deactivated. And it gets deactivated for 6 hours, and then finally it's brought back up. And when she tries to figure out what exactly happened, Google responds, "Oh, there was suspicious activity on your account." Well, I've seen what that suspicious activity is because I've seen it with Jordan B. Peterson. And what happened with him is that an insider was able to get Jordan's email address and then take the email address and then change one letter, create a new account, change one letter, create a new account, change one letter, create a new account, until there is a network of these spoofed accounts. These spoofed accounts then start delivering spam email and what looks like phishing scams out to different email addresses. Well, what happens is that this triggers something with the AI. The AI sees it. It says, "Oh, look, there's all this suspicious activity from a bunch of accounts that all look like they're have the same name." And so it takes down all of them, including the account of the original account, which was the actual target. And so what happened with Jordan B. Peterson is that when all these spam accounts got brought down, he got brought down with them. Okay. And so I made an open letter to Tulsi Gabbard's lawyer, and I explained what happened with Jordan B. Peterson so that he could get discovery in his lawsuit against, or Tulsi's lawsuit against Google. Okay.
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate. So say if I'm Google's lawyer and they're like, well, that would work if it was at gmail.com account, but this isn't an at gmail.com account. This is a at tulsi2020.com account or email address. Does that work the same way if you're that insider doing
I've got an at Zacky's account and it's backed by Gmail. So, I don't know if the thing is that with an ad account, you have to have some sort of Google account with it in order to access that. Okay.
Got you. So they could change it technically.
Well, no, the thing is I know that there's an account that's linked to their ad account. So even if her email is different, the ad account that they're still using is associated with Google.
Like her personal account may be a Gmail account, or somebody or the person who's running the ads might have a personal account linked with Google, and they're able to manipulate. All they have to do is manipulate that one email address and then take it from there, and the system will flag it.
That's correct. And I'm not saying that I have direct evidence that this is what happened to her. I'm saying it's very similar to the same pattern, and that if you want to do discovery, Mr. Lawyer, then this is the pattern of behavior. And the pattern of behavior that Google has been doing across a lot of these different areas is that they create a vulnerability where they don't fix a vulnerability, and that vulnerability is known by a group of insiders. And so then those third-party insiders are able to use this exploitation to bring down, and do an operation. And Google is able to have plausible deniability because they're like, oh, this was a bug, which it was, but they didn't want to fix it. And so,
yeah, but I say, does it generally take 6 hours to fix a problem like that? If you're does it? I don't know. I don't work at Google.
Shouldn't they should, like, the thing is that they're like, oh, well, this is an influencer. So, or how about this? Look at the timestamp of the creation date of all the spam addresses, so that when they take down one, they just take down all the spam addresses because it was made yesterday, but the other account that Tulsi had probably was made 3 months ago, right?
And they could have easily seen it.
Yeah.
Do they have people working all night is that like a 24-hour a day type of job where there's always somebody on shift?
Always somebody on shift, always somebody on call.
So they're full of shit. It's basically what you're telling me. Because they made it seem like, oh, well, we just didn't have that many people on staff, and and I remember I was reading these articles that were making excuses about why Google may have taken 6 hours. I'm like, bro, this is a presidential candidate. There's no way you're taking 6 hours on this. Especially as she's a trending topic. I know somebody's monitoring this. I know that there's like this. It just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, come on. It's like.
Yeah, you can't pretend like it's I've worked in like marketing before, where if we have people dedicated, where if something happens to maybe your page that we created for you, the moment that it happens and you put in a ticket, like it's fixed within the next hour at the most, and it's usually fixed quicker than that. But the hour is like, maybe they're on lunch. Maybe there's one person working on another, but this is Google. I'm sure they had way more employees than we did, and they're working 24 hours a day. So it's a whole different ball game. So I would, first of all, let me just say, I appreciate you doing that, not because I'm a Tulsi supporter, but because I'm on the record continuously saying, because I support Bernie Sanders as well. But if it happens to Tulsi, it can happen to Bernie, it can happen to Yang, it can happen to Marianne Williamson, it can happen to any outsider that stands up to the establishment or stands up to the mainstream. And for you to come out and kind of give credence to what a lot of people had speculated, and they had that gut feeling like, come on, this is not a coincidence. Like this has literally never happened before to a presidential candidate ever. Yeah. And the moment that Tulsi becomes the most Google search topic, it happens to her. And I agree. I think 50 million might be too little. I think that they did, 6 hours. After the first debate, when she was the most searched candidate, she ends up hitting her donation threshold in 24 hours, less than 12 hours, really. And so imagine what would have happened if she was able to promote like she did the second night on the first night.
Yep.
It would have been, once again, it would have given her opportunity. Maybe she wouldn't have hit the donation threshold tonight, but she would have made it prior to the second debate, right? Maybe the polling would look different because they're seeing her name more often. Like all that stuff plays a factor in how you're marketing yourself as far as, being a presidential candidate. So thank you. And I'm sure that a lot of people appreciate you just kind of taking the time to write that open letter to Tulsi, explaining to people exactly what could have taken place there. I would like to move on to this blacklist. What the hell? Why do they have a blacklist? Explain to me the logic here. Is it something that's like talked about pretty openly amongst Google employees? Like, oh, there's a blacklist and it's for safety and they feed you some.
Nope.
Oh, it's not.
They just didn't talk about it. And in fact, the reason why I found out about it was because, it's like the CEO is being grilled about, questioned under oath about, whether Google employs blacklists, and he's like, "Oh no, we don't employ anything like this. We don't have any political bias in our search." And I was like,
"Oh god,
what? Really?" And so I just typed in blacklist, and I just came up with this huge 40-page document. YouTube controversial query blacklist. Okay. They literally named it blacklist. And there's a guy under oath perjuring himself. And it's just like, and I'm not special. Like all full-time employees had access to this document. So,
but never thought to look through it.
I mean, I just think that it's just pride. It's just pride. Like they have so much pride that they feel they are invincible and they can just do whatever they want because, you know, they're paying so much money in lobbyists that no matter what they do, it's going to be okay. So they didn't even try to hide this. It was just right out there in the open. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it in my trove of documents. This is going to be released to the public because, yeah, it's bad stuff. And the thing
I saw some of the words on that thing. I mean, they were the guy who committed the Las Vegas massacre. His name was blacklisted in 100 different ways. Basically any mass shooter, which I think is kind of weird that they blacklist the names like that.
Yeah. First 6 pages is all about Stephen Paddock and the Las Vegas attack.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I feel like if you want to Google a mass murder, I think that you should be perfectly able to do so. I don't think that that's far-fetched. I feel like that should be a normal thing.
Right, like their mission statement is organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. And here they are like blacklisting this. And it's not just like Stephen Paddock and the shootings and basically every other mass casualty event. It's not just that. They've also blacklisted phrases like cancer cure. Okay.
What?
Yes. Look in the controversy. Look at it, dude. It's cancer cure.
Yeah, okay? I'm gonna have to go through it. I'm gonna have to go through it.
They even blacklisted the phrase Eighth Amendment of the Constitution of Ireland.
Why?
Because that amendment asserted the rights of the unborn.
What? Why would you? I don't understand. That's super weird. I don't know why you would like. I just feel like I'm a really huge proponent of put the information out there and let people figure out what's appropriate, what's not, you know, what they believe in, what they don't. Because the moment you only give a singular option, someone's going to create like another option anyway, right? So maybe it doesn't manifest as a argument to the Eighth Amendment in Ireland, but then it becomes another debate here. And then they have to censor something else, right? It becomes another debate on Twitter, then they have to censor something else. And it's like, then you get to this point where you have a list of 40 pages and somebody has to leak it. And now you look foolish. Like, just let people engage in discourse. What the hell? Like, it's not that complicated, in my opinion.
Free market of ideas, right?
Free market of ideas. I actually believe in that. Not like Dave Rubin, who pretends like he believes in it, for anybody wondering. So, hey, Dave better chill. He better not come at me either. I'm going to get Marion Williamson on you again, Dave. You come at me. Just letting you know. But no, seriously. So does this apply to YouTube at all? What's up with what does this mean for like YouTubers like myself?
You are getting squeezed out, my friend. I don't know if you've been noticing this, but demonetizations are up.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've been noticing it. Literally, while my videos are processing, they get demonetized. They couldn't have watched it, right? They couldn't have watched it because I'll upload. At one point, I was uploading 20-minute videos on purpose because I was like, okay, 8-minute videos, maybe they can watch enough of it so that they can make the determination. So let me upload a 20-minute video and see how long it takes to get demonetized. It would be uploaded within 4 minutes, and yet it was demonetized. I'm like, bro, there's no way you had time to watch this video. So who the hell demonetized it?
Right. So this is what's happening. Okay. So first off, they're data mining the title, the description, and plain text. But then also what's happening is that there's an AI that's transcribing what you're saying into text and then data mining that. So if you say the wrong word, what's going to happen is that your video gets demonetized. And this can be seen with people like Tim Pool, right? He's playing this game where he's avoiding certain words because he knows that if he says those words, it's going to destroy the monetization of his video.
Yeah, so. I actually, so I've noticed that basically every presidential candidate, if you use a certain sequence, so if I use Tulsi Gabbard's name, for example, it's immediately demonetized. However, if I put random accents in her name, it does not get demonetized. I'm like the most absurd, like Turkish, like accents on the U and the I, and it won't get demonetized. Now, every now and then what happens is maybe 2 days later, I guess they circle back and are like, what the hell? How do we not catch it? And then they'll demonetize it for a little bit, and then they'll have to eventually remonetize. Oh yeah, it's absurd. It happened to me literally yesterday. Had a video up for 2 days, wasn't demonetized. Then they come back and demonetize it. And it's likely because people were mentioning her in the comments section because it's a video about her. And that's why they responded to that. So like, that's what I've found interesting. I'm like, okay, so you're literally targeting people so that they won't do videos about particular people, particular subjects, because it won't be profitable for them. And right. and even, can you explain something to me too? I don't know if you would be able to talk about this, but what the fuck is up with the subscribers just dropping off the face of the planet? What's up with that?
Okay, so what you've noticed is your new subscribers dropping by about 90%. And
literally, I have to get 3 new subscribers for every one to make any progress.
And a lot of the people see that their view counts have gone down by 50%. So here's what's happening: is that so there's this recommendation engine that says if you like A, then you're gonna like B, right? Well, what that did is that allowed people to find the people that they're looking for, because Google was monitoring what people were clicking on. Well, what happened is Google's push to drive up authoritative content means that they're swapping out what people would actually like and instead putting in establishment players like Fox News.
Yeah, I see that. A lot of people were telling me my videos were playing for 5 seconds and then automatically playing CNN, MSNBC, or a Fox News video, like without them even prompting it, which is even more interesting because it was mostly people who were watching on television or on their laptops. Like, it was just automatic, and they would try to go back to my video and we would do the same thing again. So how does that factor into the subscriber? Like, I watch my analytics pretty damn closely, and I will have a day where I don't do literally anything, and I will gain maybe 150 subscribers, but I'll lose 75 inexplicably. And then people tell me like, hey man, what's going on? I just was unsubscribed from your channel.
Yeah. And it happens not only on YouTube, but it's happening on Twitter. Like, they're just auto unsubscribing people from the pages, right? Just randomly.
Yes. I believe that's actually happening to Tulsi right now. Tulsi hasn't even gained. I mean, she went on a steady like at least 1,000 followers a week since she's announced. And then of course, depending on what's happening, it goes way up. Now she hasn't gotten 100 followers in the last week total. And even more interesting, her following, like on the ground, her rallies have actually been bigger. Her town halls have been bigger, and there's more excitement for her on the ground now than there has been before. But yet all of her social media is seemingly slowing down out of nowhere. Even though I've been seeing on YouTube that she's actually been getting more traction on YouTube. And I think it's because people are looking for other ways to figure out what's going on with her. Cause like, you just, unless you're in like a Twitter, a Tulsi, or even like for Bernie, for example, like you have to be in that sphere to see the updates. But other than that, like, it seems like they're silencing her on Twitter, Facebook a little bit, definitely on Google. And YouTube has been better, but if you YouTube her name, like YouTube Tulsi Gabbard, man, she's like, her page, the presidential candidate's page, is like 15 searches down, like at the very bottom. Whereas her and I used to actually be top 2 for Tulsi Gabbard searches. And then literally in March, April timeframe, whenever like I had gotten like 30,000 subscribers in like a matter of a month and a half, just talking about mostly Tulsi stuff. And then I got our viewership was crazy. It was like 1.2, 1.5 million a month, and was climbing. And then literally just instantly you could see it. Yeah.
Because your subscribers aren't going to subscribe a second time. And what's really happening is that the new people aren't getting your content. So only people that already know about your content are coming to your page. That's what's happening. That's why your subscriber count has dropped to 10%, and the reason why your viewer count has dropped by 50%. All the other channels are all seeing something similar happening to them, and they're all frustrated, and Google's been telling all of them that they're conspiracy theorists. And this is the reason why, and I'm a YouTube addict. Like, I was watching YouTube 10 hours a day, so I was seeing all this stuff going down, and I was like, this can't stand. Like, they're throwing their investors under the bus. They're throwing the YouTube community under the bus.
Their investors. How do their advertisers feel about this? Because I feel like they don't even realize. Because we're basically getting robbed, right? We get they'll demonetize our video and literally run ads on it, because I know they pay for the ads. The ads are paid for in advance. And if they tell them they're going to run this many ads, they're going to run that many ads regardless if we get paid for it or not.
Wait, are you saying that when they demonetize the video, ads are still playing?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. Me and Kyle Kalinske from Secular Talk were literally just talking about this. Wow. They run. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. The comment section will tell you in a heartbeat. Like, they're like, hold on, this video got demonetized. I'm like, yeah. They're like, why did I just get an ad? And then I logged into my friend's account to see if that was the case. And it is absolutely the case. Sometimes they'll run 2 ads back to back. Yeah, I'm like, yo, okay, so you're literally stealing money now.
Because before they were like, oh, it's brand unsafe, so we'll demonetize because we don't want to run ads. But if they're demonetizing, but they're still running ads, then all they're doing is taking money away from you.
It's a huge money grab. It's literally what it looks like, because they still get paid for those ads. We just don't get paid for it. And they justify by saying, well, you still get some YouTube Red revenue, which I'm pretty sure isn't even close to as much as it should be. Like, a video that gets 10,000, it'll get $2 rather than, for a political video, 10,000 view video can make you anywhere from 25 to 50, depending on how much engagement or in the diversity of the audience. Sometimes a 10,000 view video can get you $80. And so that's the difference. And they'll still run the ads, but we won't get paid for it. And I want to show people
torturous interference.
So I want to show people really quick what I'm looking at here with the search engine. So for example, I just YouTube search Elizabeth Warren. So it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 before you get to Elizabeth Warren's YouTube page, but she only has 8,700 subscribers. So that's kind of like what would be expected. The more popular videos would pop up first. And this is crazy because it's all positive stuff about Warren. Now with Tulsi, I type in Tulsi Gabbard. Now my name needs to be the first name that popped up. Oh, actually, it just got fit. Oh man, I wonder if they're listening to us, because it literally just got. I bullshit you not. I looked this up yesterday. She was 15 results down, and all the videos were negative videos.
Yeah. There's a lot of changes coming. So the Trump body count, obviously, it just went away, and what just got announced by the Washington Post yesterday is that half of the states are coming together to do a broad antitrust class action lawsuit against Google.
So you think they're cleaning up their tracks?
I think they're trying to clean up their tracks. I would be really scared right now if I was Google, because this is an existential crisis. They may get broken up because of this action that I've done. And
I hope that they do. And with the lawsuit coming from Tulsi, the president, so they're getting hit from all sides. They're getting hit from the right, from YouTubers and influencers who have been censored by them. They're getting hit from a presidential candidate on the left who is extremely popular with the online independent movements. And then they're getting hit by their own employees simultaneously, it seems. And it's like one of them is going to get them. And I know they're going to try to pay everybody off in settlements so that we never go to the discovery. But I have a pretty damn good feeling that most of them understand that it's not about the money. It's about what they're trying to do and how they're trying to control our discourse and silence people who they want to silence and prop up who they want to prop up. As the best example I can think of is when I first broke the information about the Google, I want to say it was the CEO at the time, was in it's not Tulsi's, God no, but was in Hillary's camp in 2016. People laughed about it. I'm like, bruh, when let's say Google the Clinton Foundation, for example, I haven't seen a positive thing about the Clinton Foundation at that time in 2 years. Nothing positive. And yet and still, you Google Clinton Foundation at that point in time, it was just the most boastful information about all the good they've done in this world. And I'm like, what? Come on, bruh. You don't even have to. It's just like what we were just talking about.
They robbed 90% of their donations that were going to Haiti. They just absorbed
in true Red Cross fashion. So it's just frustrating to me that they've been able to get away with it for this long, like, and not be able to be held accountable. But it does, once again, it's I'm thankful that somebody like you, and we need more people like you out there in this world, where big tech seems to be running things. Somebody like you, a person who has the same access. Like you said, everybody had the same access as you. Everybody could see what you saw if they cared enough. And I'm sure that some people even saw it and didn't do anything about it. And you are the one person who took the time, put yourself out there and said, nah, I don't care what happens to me. I don't care what happens to my life. I have to put this information out there anyway. So I want to go through some super chats really quick before we wrap it up here. Manny, thanks for the super chat. Progressives better not sleep on this info, as if the DNC won't use these tricks on Bernie, acting as if this isn't coordinated. A lot of coincidences. 100% agree, Manny. 100% agree. Action for Assange. Thanks for the super chat. They have a Julian Assange vigil tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. First guest, John Kiriakou. Oh, that's dope. John Kiriakou's a cool guy, former CIA operative, broke off, very similar to you, and leaked a bunch of information and called them out. Joel Sass, thanks for the super chat. I'm a red subscriber, never unsubbed anywhere. And I'm not surprised by that. I believe that YouTube Red subscribers are probably the ones who are least likely to be unsubbed, because y'all don't see ads. So they have no incentive of unsubscribing you. And then, because whether you watch us, it doesn't matter. We're going to get paid regardless. But if people who are extremely interested in the things that we're talking about, and who feel compelled to watch ads just because of maybe they can't support in any other way financially, they feel compelled to watch the ads and even click on the ads just to help political analysts out and et cetera, those are the ones you're going to want to unsubscribe. Yeah. Because, and I imagine that has something to do with it. After you skip or you watch a certain amount of ads without buying anything, they probably are like, yeah, no, you're not going to be seeing their stuff.
Well,
anymore.
The hardcore users, like, they're willing to pay for the service. And so, they're entering into a contract with YouTube, where the other free users are not. They're just using the service. And so those that pay for it are more likely to complain. And so it's all about, like, how do you go through a path of least resistance to achieve your agenda goals. And so I think that could be a likely explanation of why the non-YouTube red crowd seems to be unsubbing randomly more than not.
I just still feel like it's super weird. I feel like they're hurting themselves, because, like, why are you forcing people to unsubscribe from channels? And if they're not watching the channel, they're not nobody's getting any ad revenue, right? You're putting yourself in a predicament where you don't get to show the ads that you once were able to show, and your advertiser eventually going to get pissed off. And I'm sure to a degree that's been happening, because very recently, more videos have been remonetized. They're getting the process done faster for the demonetization process. Like the review process is becoming faster. To the channels with, I think, 100,000 plus subscribers, they get to actually go through and say, I believe my thing is monetizable, and I didn't violate any community guidelines, and I didn't cuss, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. So they're giving more options seemingly to the larger channels, and they're reviewing the process faster for the smaller channels. But, like, I still don't understand why they feel like they need to unsubscribe people. I just feel like that hurts them ultimately.
Well, they're liars, right? And they've got an agenda. And you would think that Google would only have a fiduciary responsibility to maximize the profit of their shareholders, and that therefore they wouldn't have a dog in the fight of a sacred political democracy. But it apparently seems that they do, and that they're even willing to destroy their platform success so that they can achieve this goal. And
you feel like there are bigger players that you think there are bigger pieces at play?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're working in lockstep with, like, the New York Times with a lot of this stuff means that who's ever, like, pushing the narrative with the New York Times is also pushing the narrative with Google. So they act like they're different entities, but I suspect that they're actually operating under the same control structure.
Well, according to Seymour Hersh, that would be John Brennan, former CIA operative who literally created a disinformation campaign. So, well, I guess that would explain why In-Q-Tel has invested so much into Google. Yep. Okay, man. So I don't want to hold you up too much longer. Where can people find your stuff? I don't know if you do like little mini like tweets or posts about some of the revelations.
I do.
Okay.
So my request is that your audience helps keep me alive, because when eyeballs are on me, it makes it harder to assassinate. And also I'm fighting Google. So, the more people that retweet the things that I'm saying, the more impact that it's going to have, and the more reach. Because, I am, writing this social movement in order to affect political change so that we can have that free market of ideas. So if your audience wants to help, then what they can go is they go onto Twitter. They can follow me at Perpetual Maniac.
Perpetual Maniac. Okay. It's all one word, peeps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you toss that in the comments of the description or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm literally about to do right now. So Perpetual Maniacs. And are you even allowed to have a YouTube page?
Singular. I have a YouTube page, but I don't really post to it because I'm afraid that the whole thing will get removed if I'm too active on it. So because they're watching me. I'm one of the most watched people now in America by Google.
Catherine R asks, do you get paid if ads are muted? No, we do not. If ads are muted, then we don't get the ads. YouTube still gets paid though. So, I mean, they get to keep their money because they pay for, when you're paying for ads, you pay for the ads in advance, up front, and then they run the ads after that. So yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Once again, Zach, thanks for what you did and what you are continuing to do. What are you doing now that you were obviously not with Google any longer? And I imagine it's probably hard for you to get into the tech industry again. So what are you doing now?
I'm running a campaign and volunteering for stopbitburning.com. So, they used to have book burning, and now we've got bit burning. So I am advocating for anti-censorship.
I love it. That's what I like to hear, man. And like I said, hopefully more people on the left cover this. I know that I'm definitely going to be. I would literally just went on a tirade today about how I'm like, man, we got to start seeing more articles and more videos about what big tech is doing. And I feel like the only time that people want to cover big tech is whenever it's only personally affecting them, right? But like, that's one of the things that attracted me towards Tulsi's candidacy. She called out big tech from the very, very beginning. Like, and people don't understand how serious that issue is until they're the ones who are censored. Their friends or their favorite commentator or pundit or their favorite, show or whatever. Like all of a sudden it's a big deal. Like,
and you don't really notice what's happening until it targets you. Then you wake up, and that's honestly a lot of times it's too late. So people really need to listen to people like you, and me, and take us seriously when we say that there is a totalitarian censorship regime that's being unleashed onto the public. And they're trying to sort of slide in a social credit score system like China's.
Yeah, I've heard about that. That's insane.
I mean, it's already happening. Like if you say the wrong thing, you talk it out against, unfettered immigration, then, you can lose your Patreon page. You can get kicked off of PayPal. MasterCard can refuse service to you. Like this is a social credit system that's being built.
I feel like that's what Twitter is. I legitimately feel like that's literally what Twitter has become, like a social credit card system, which is why they're not verifying certain people. Like, funny enough, when it literally, as I applied to be verified, the moment that I applied to be verified, they stopped verifying people. Not an exaggeration. The week I did it, I was like, what the why did y'all? And then what was weird was the people that I noticed that they were verifying. And after that, that's what was weird. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence, blah, blah, blah. And then I noticed I'm like, okay, then how the hell did that person get verified?
Who were they verifying?
Established mouthpieces to make a long story short. And I'm like, well, how the hell? Like, and if they first rejected me by saying I wasn't like anybody of any merit, and I'm like, bro, I have a bunch of news articles about me. At the time, my page, if you typed in Niko House, I was the first 3 pages of Google. And I'm like, but I don't deserve to get verified. My friend is running for Congress, Josh Collins. He's he has almost like 30,000 followers on Twitter and is retweeting more than most politicians that are already in office. And they won't, but he was even interviewed by the Young Turks, still won't give him a verification. Like, and it's happening to almost all of the new progressive or outsider or independent candidates. They're absolutely refusing to verify their Twitter accounts because there is a certain amount of gravitas that comes with that. There's a certain amount of legitimacy that comes with that. And when people see that blue check mark, they're quicker to actually break down your tweet, look at it, and make the conscious decision as to whether or not they want to retweet it or not retweet it. If you're just some random person, then they're not as quick to look at your tweet and retweet or like it or whatever, or to follow you, right? Imagine if some people who have 50,000 followers now, if they were verified, probably would have double that because you're suggested more by the algorithms when people first created Twitter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's crazy to me. I don't know what they thought their end goal is going to be, but I guess a lot of people like this don't.
Well, the mask has been ripped off, my friend, and it's all being exposed now.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I wish you luck, Zach. I hope to have you back on as more of this big tech stuff comes up. I imagine a lot of it will be coming up soon. I will definitely have you back on whenever we hear more information about the lawsuit against Google from Tulsi camp. For sure. And I'm sure that they're very appreciative of what you did as well. For everybody else, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. If you want, you can help us upgrade the studio. I started a GoFundMe. It's $1,500, not a lot, because I know that I need a new computer, I need a new camera, all that good stuff. But I don't want everybody footing the bill for that stuff because it gets expensive. So I'm only asking for $1,500 to just help take off some of the overhead. And I would appreciate it if you all could help contribute to that so we can upgrade this studio and take this show on the road. So I'll have that GoFundMe link in the description. And if you're watching this backwards, you can go find it there. Other than that, always remember, more than anything else, people, find your balance. Peace.
Thank you, Niko.